How's it going, guys? Welcome back. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Recently, the NHL has released their top 10 goalies in the NHL right now, and we've gotten the top 10 goalies voted on by the fans as well. So let's take a look at these lists. Let's break them down. First and foremost, there is Andrei Vasilevskiy on top of both lists. Not going to talk much about that. A unanimous vote there. Number 2, we have Bobrovsky versus Carey Price. Both carried their team to playoffs numerous times in their career, and that's what makes a top 10 or a top 3 tendy in the league. So you can't argue against that too much. But Bob ticks in at number 7 on the fan vote because Columbus and Florida are both smaller market teams. Smaller market teams, not as many fans. Not as many fans. That means there's God bless people voting for him, and that is the reason you see him trickle down in that fan vote. More on that later. Third on the list is Ben Bishop. Sure, understandable. I respect Ben Bishop, but the fan vote has Jordan Binnington. What? Jordan Binnington. I got 2 words for you. I don't care how Jordan Binnington played in the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't care what kind of run the Blues had from January on. I got 2 words for you. Ask me if this rings a bell. Andrew Hammond. Andrew Hammond. In case you don't know who Andrew Hammond is, you should know because he's a top 3 goal. If Binnington's a top 3 goalie, Andrew Hammond was the number 1 goalie in the league at the end of that season. Andrew Hammond dropped a 20-1 record in his first year in the NHL, and he went absolutely off that season. Now, you know what did happen? No, he only played 21 games. He didn't play a lot. You know, Binnington's kind of in that same boat. The guy has not played enough to be a guy you go out there and say, let's put him number 3. You know, I got another 2 words for you. I like this because you know what? Binnington didn't win the Stanley Cup. That's a good reason to make him number 3. Am I right? Let's make Binnington number 3 because he won a Stanley Cup. Matt Murray. Another good 2 words, right? Another great 2 words. Where's Matt Murray on this list? He's got 2 Stanley Cups. Just no. Sorry, Binnington, can't happen. Tuukka Rask is another interesting one here as well. He struggled in the regular season. It's hard to argue he deserves a spot over a guy like Fleury that has carried his team, or Gibson, who continues to be one of the least talked about goalies in the league. And the other thing that's interesting about this, if you're going to go out there and say, well, Tuukka Rask carried the team into playoffs, he played absolutely phenomenal in the playoffs. There is no question about that. But if you're going to play the playoff card, then you have to say, why is Vasilevskiy number 1? Because he was absolutely dog crap in playoffs and was a big part of that 4-game sweep and how bad he played. So you know what, we got a double-edged sword here. We got to pick one here, boys. Braden Holtby, continuing on. 1 bad season, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. 2 bad seasons, now you got to start questioning. I mean, this guy was a guy 2 seasons ago getting benched in the first round of playoffs because of how poorly he was playing at the end of the season. Granted, we all know how that ended that season. We still see guys below him in this list that didn't have those problems the past 2 seasons. Carter Hart confirms the initial thought of the popularity of the fan vote. It was just a popularity contest. Clearly, fans were voting for their favorite team's players because Hart has all the potential in the world to be a top 3 elite goaltender in the future of this league. But he's played a whole 31 games in his career. Do we need to go back to the Andrew Hammond story? I think the biggest question of them all, though, here might be this. Does the Vezina Trophy hold credibility? Does there hold any credibility in the Vezina Trophy winner? Do we just draw random names out of a hat for the finals? How does that work? I'm asking because I don't see Robin Lehner on either of these 2 lists. I can understand him not being a top 3 goalie in the league on the list, obviously, but if the Vezina Trophy is supposed to be a trophy awarded to the best goalie in the league, and he was considered a top 3 goalie last season, how in the world does he not make either top 10? Something's broken there. Last thing we will say, though, out of all of this is teams have different players around them. The goalie top 10s list will always be one of the most controversial because everybody's got different defenders. Everyone's got different forwards in front of them. Different teams playing in front of them may or may not inflate them stats a little bit and get the ball rolling. We can always play that card with Vasilevskiy and that stack team, right? Kind of like you could have with Fleury back in the days with Pittsburgh. That is the top 10 list for the fans and for the NHL. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on which ones you agree with the most. As always, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.